My name is James Wirth. My role in the fire service is I'm a firefighter EMT. And in total time, I've been in the fire service for 17 years, between juniors, explorers, to current.
So what inspired you to join the fire service?
So I've always said I was going to do this. My dad's a firefighter. I grew up playing with the fire trucks on the living room floor, playing fireman for Halloween. I've been around firehouses since I was little, rescue squads. My dad's an EMT as well. My mom's an EMT. So it's kind of the family business. It runs in the family.
Jimmy, you have a very unique quality
Yes.
about you. Tell me about it.
So I did all of this without a lower left arm or hand. Went through the fire academy, wound up dropping out the first time. I'll be very honest. I had a death in the family. My grandfather died. And that kind of took me back for a minute. And then my department that I was with at the time had ordered turnout gear, specially made with no sleeve. It hadn't come in yet. So between me kind of being off my game with the death in the family and getting to the point in the academy, we were about halfway through. We were starting the live fire evolutions. And I hit a point where I said, you know what? They were willing to let me continue until the point of unsafe. And I just decided on my own, it was time to pull that pin. So I disenrolled myself, got the gear, went back through, and the second time around, I'll tell you what, it was a cakewalk.
So at this point, you have IFSAC New Jersey State Certified Firefighter 1.
Yep.
And you're also a nationally registered EMT.
At this point in time, I have my New Jersey Firefighter 1, my IFSAC Firefighter 1, my National Registry EMT, my ICS 2, 3, and 4, my New Jersey IMS levels 1, 2, and 3. So I have all of the background, technically, to be a chief. I have multiple certifications in vehicle extrication, up to the point of vehicle extrication technician. I'm a CPR instructor. For a while, I was a New Jersey New Jersey instructor level 1. I let that lapse due to having a kid. That was more important. I may get that back in the future, but that's what I have now. I have my fire police. I can do it all, basically.
Has anybody set limits on what you're permitted to do?
No.
Have you found anything that you can't do?
So I set my own limits. I don't like ladders. I'm just uneasy on them. I always have been. I don't like running a K-12 saw, just because of some of the kickback. If I need to do it, it's going to get done. Maybe not the most conventional way, but it's going to get done. I love vehicle extrication. It's the funniest thing in the world, watching the one-armed kid run around with a cutter or spreader, but it happens. I love doing it. My really only limitations I find are the ones that I give myself. Again, heights, some of the K-12 stuff. I hate climbing up on the top of the truck and packing hose. It's just one of those things. I'm not great. I'm not really that flexible. And there's only so many handhold points. Like, you can only put so many railings on a truck and so many steps, right? I find those challenging for myself. So I'll pack hose on the ground. I'll be one of the guys dragging it up and handing it up to the guy on the truck. I'll roll the smaller hoses. I'll help pack cross lays. Me and the hose bed aren't the best of friends, and high hose beds are worse.
You have an elbow and you are able to grip things?
Yep. I'm able to grip things. My department's been great with that. When I joined, the nozzles had no pistol grips. They had taken them off because the group of young guys that was here at the time, I don't know if it was Fire News, Fire Engineering, somebody read an article that was very anti-pistol grip. And I came around and I gave it about a month to show them that I was really wanting to be here. I was active. I was learning to drive the trucks. I was coming to calls. And I went to the chief and I was like, hey, chief, listen, I get that the guys took these off, but it makes my life a hell of a lot harder. If the nozzle starts to slip with the way I hold it on my left side, so my right hand can control the bail. Without that pistol grip, it's going. With that pistol grip, at least it's gonna slam into my shoulder blade, into the opening, and it's going to stop it. I was like, and besides that, when it does that, it's going to push the bail closed. Flow may turn off. We may lose flow for a minute, but I'm not losing the line. And he was like, all right, here's where they are. Go put them on. Put them on everything. If anybody has any questions, tell them to come see me. So I had the support, and within 20 minutes, the situation was fixed. It was never well, let's take it to the membership. Nothing. It was, you're here, you're doing the job. We're going to make it easier for you.
So let's go back to the fire academy a sec. 200 hours of training.
Yep.
Did you have challenges there?
Yeah, I froze at ladders. I froze. I will be the first one to tell you, I froze. I did training with my department that I was with ahead of time. I hated leg locks. I still do with a passion because you have to use your upper body to pull yourself up out of it, and I can't do that. So I end up hopping. And it's the scariest feeling in the world trying to hop on the ladder with the way they want you to do the leg lock in the academy. There's other ways to do a leg lock, but the way the academy wanted it done was not one that I was comfortable with. But I got to a point where I stood there and I said, if I want this goddamn certification, I'm going to get up that ladder. And the certification meant more than the fear of the ladder. I did it. I never want to do it again.
I've tied my share of spaghetti knots with 2 hands. How did you handle ropes and knots?
So, ropes and knots is funny. I was one of the better students in the class with it. We did it gloved hands. So, you could say I had an advantage because obviously I didn't have a glove on my left hand. But I only had that advantage in the classroom when we brought our gloves into the classroom to practice. When we were getting evaluated on it, we were in turnout gear. So it was a sleeve. So I either did it with my sleeve, rested it against my elbow. Heck, some of the time I used my teeth. You couldn't say I didn't tie the knot. There was no, you have to tie the knot this way. It was, we need the knot the right way, effectively completed. So I did it. I'm still okay at ropes and knots. It's not something I really do anymore. Carabiners are great. So I tend to just have like a double figure 8 with a carabiner for raising tools or something because it's much quicker.
Tell me about the timeline, your timeline in the fire service.
So 14 and 15, I was an explorer in a different local department because that was the only department that offered you to get in at that young of an age. I stayed with that department when I turned 16, and then you got a little bit more hands-on, depending on what the call was. When I turned 18, it got a little bit better. I wasn't certified at the age of 18, because like I said before, I waited till after I graduated high school to go to the academy, so I wasn't certified truly till I was 19. Once I got certified, it was a bumpy road. I still rode with that department. I joined another one my senior year of high school, and I stayed there for probably 3 or 4 years before I started the transition to this department. And that's because I had lived in this town the entire time. I'm a certified firefighter. I live in this town. I should help the town I live in. So that's kind of what I did. But getting to where I am now was a bumpy road. The fire academy was bumpy. Some of the limitations with other departments were bumpy. Guys just getting used to me as being the new guy was bumpy. But they've been great. The support's been nothing but great. Even as leadership changes, officers change. I was an officer here for a while. The support, it's all been great. I can't say a bad word about anywhere that I've been. Nobody was negative. Nobody wasn't supportive.
You've talked about some of the early days. What has being a firefighter taught you about yourself?
Being a firefighter, the big bullet point here is the only one stopping you is you. That's the big bullet point, in my opinion. I could go on for half an hour about what it's taught me. The Brotherhood, self-sacrifice, whatever. The biggest thing is don't let anybody but you stop you. And that's the biggest bullet point.
What would you tell someone if they told you they were thinking of joining the fire department?
Do it. Do it and don't look back. Don't stop. Get through the academy, but do it at your pace. Don't let any chief, don't let any department say, you joined in July and the academy starts in August and we're sending you in August. Learn your department. Learn the equipment. Learn the trucks. Don't be the guy that shows up in Fire 1 and doesn't know how to put on turnout gear because it was just given to him the week before, or doesn't know a Halligan bar and axe. Learn your equipment. Be the guy that shows up going, I studied this. I know what I'm doing. But don't stop, don't look back, and don't let anybody give you shit. You're in control of you. Do you.
Firefighting is often a family tradition, and you're the second continuous
Yes.
generation, but you've also had other family members in earlier generations.
Yep, I've had grandfathers, I've had uncles. Continuously, my dad was a firefighter EMT from the time he was 16, and then it's me.
So do you hope the tradition continues with your kids?
Yes and no. I hope it continues. I'm okay if it doesn't. But I hope, for my kids' sake, that the fire department and the fire service, are still around in the way I remember them from when I was young, and even before I joined. But like when I used to hang out with my dad, and it was always fun, and it was family oriented. And, you know, whether it was you showed up and your kids were all washing the fire truck while the guys stood around, or there were groups of my dad and his guys that had kids, and we all went to one of the guys' farms in the winter and went sledding. Like, it was family oriented, and that's what I hope when my kids are old enough to come into this, if they want to, that we kind of get back to the family oriented fire service.
Can you share a moment from your time in the fire service that really stands out to you?
There's no real one moment. There was no, this is the moment, this is why I'm here. It's a lot of little things. Helping the old lady change a tire, changing a battery in a smoke detector because somebody couldn't. You know, talking to the kid who's maybe fine from a car accident, but their parents upset, and they don't get why their parents upset. So throw them in the fire truck, let them sit in the seat, let the parent have 5 minutes. Decompress. You're there. They trust you. I don't know how many times we had people, car accidents that had rental cars that were stuck on the side of the road, and it's, hey, jump in the engine, jump in the ambulance. We'll at least get you off the road. We'll get you back to the firehouse. You can make a phone call. There's a bathroom. You're not standing out here. So it's the little things, but it's overall the sense of you've helped somebody. You've changed somebody's day.
How has the fire service changed since you first joined?
Oh, fire service has changed in a lot of ways since I joined. I think the biggest things that have changed is the awakening the fire service has had. That, you know, the big bulky coats maybe aren't the best. Some of what the gear's made out of isn't the best. It's the equipment changes. It's making our jobs easier. You know, having a different nozzle, having the technology, whether it's thermal imaging cameras, the new engines that are out with the pump systems, that you can charge a line by pressing the button on a nozzle. You know, the driver can walk away from the apparatus for a minute. It's the technology that's changed. And as long as it keeps evolving, I think it's going to be great.
So what do you think has stayed the same?
The guys. And girls. You know, when I say the guys, I don't necessarily mean the gender, but the camaraderie, the people who want to do the job. I think, and you can say that over the last 10 years, the last 20 years, however long you go back to it, nobody, at least that I know of, has said, I want to be in the fire service for the paycheck. So I think the biggest thing that stayed the same is the drive to do the job. Career, volunteer, brand new, 20 years in. There's a reason you're still here.
What advice would you give to the next generation?
For the next generation of firefighters, don't let anybody tell you can't do something for one. Only you can tell yourself that. Never stop training, never stop learning. That's what'll get you killed. And be humble about it. It's a job. Whether it's career or volunteer, it's a job. Be humble about it. Respect the job, respect the opportunity. I mean, that's really what I would tell them.
What do you hope people understand about the fire service that they may not see from the outside?
The work that goes in the back. What happens behind the closed doors. What happens at the hidden away training centers. The amount of hours these guys put in. And, I won't say volunteer career is any different in the hours, but what I'll say is a lot of the career guys are getting paid for the hours they're putting in. So especially if you have a volunteer fire department in your town, if they're doing a fundraiser, go support it. Because those guys spent all the time getting certified for nothing. All the time they're away from their families for nothing. They still have full-time jobs. That firehouse isn't paying their bills. Support your fire department. Whether you volunteer, whether you're a firefighter, you're an EMT, you go help out because you're an accountant and they need a treasurer. It doesn't matter, but in some way, shape, or form, support the department in your town, or eventually you're not going to have one. It's the fact of life. You see it happening locally, you see it happen nationally. If the community does not get behind that fire department, they're not going to be there. They need to understand what their guys are going through, and their women, and the whole department, the needs, whether financial, manpower, what they need to survive. Because if they don't have it, what's going to happen the next time you need them? And you call 911 and they're not there. Make sure they're there for you. You need them. They need you just as much. Make sure you're there for their needs. You don't have to be a firefighter. If you have an extra $20 bill a year and you throw it to the firehouse, it doesn't sound like much. But if there's 1,000 people in your town and everybody throws $20 at them,
Makes a difference.
it makes a difference. It's one piece of equipment. It's a couple sets of turnout gear. It's tires on the truck. It's maintenance. Help them help you.
All right, my last question. At the end of the day, what about being a firefighter puts a smile on your face?
Helping people. It's the easiest question of them all. It's helping people. You drive the big red truck, sure. You blow sirens, whatever. It's knowing you changed an outcome. Whether it's the silliest thing ever, like changing a smoke detector battery, to pulling somebody out of a fire, doing CPR, cutting somebody out of a car. Knowing that you have potentially changed their outcome. That's what puts a smile on my face. It's knowing I did something to help them. I don't care if the truck's red. I don't care if it's big. I don't care if it's little. I don't care how many lights or sirens it has. I don't care how many millions of dollars in equipment shows up. If you can't say that you helped and you changed the outcome, why are you there? That's really it. It comes down to just helping. That's what all emergency services, in my opinion, are about. They're working together to help change the outcome of somebody's life because they're calling you on their worst day. So that's the most pride I can take in it. Is at the end of the day, the truck backs in the building, you get off it, and you know you've helped. Because if you're not helping, why are you there?
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, man.